I get tons of emails and questions from viewers asking, hey Russ, do you like the Miracle Mud? And then after I get those questions, basically what happens, they start talking about how much do I need to use and things of that nature, and it really starts to complicate the equation. And on today's product showcase, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you a simple, easy way to test out Miracle Mud with a little bit of investment, not a whole lot, right, to see if Miracle Mud is right for you. But before we go into that, let's have a word from our sponsors. So Miracle Mud. Again, you've heard great things about it from like the Mike Palettas of the world or even the Brian Tamudis. And, you know, the thing about most viewers, though, when they go to try it, they get a little bit confused on, hey, do I got to make like permanent changes, for example, and change the sump out and things of that nature to actually try it? And, you know, what I'm here today is to show you a quick, simple, easy way for you to try it. Again, a little investment, not a whole lot. Then you can try it out for yourself, see if you like it. If you don't like it, you put things back. And you know, that's where it all kind of starts from, meaning that I get a lot of questions from viewers saying, hey, I saw the, you know, whether it was the Paletta videos or I saw the, you know, the Tamudi videos, and I saw that in the refugium there were those slats going across. And, you know, the function of those slats, number one, is to keep it so the mud itself doesn't kind of slope up to one side or another. So customers are basically kind of asking themselves, hey, do I need to add those slats? And if I do, that's kind of a pain, meaning, you know, if you've got a sump that's already running, you know, how do you glue it in there while the water's going, and, you know, that kind of thing. The next thing you get into is how much Miracle Mud do we need? Right? And you can go to ecosystemaquarium.com and you can kind of see a chart and all that sort of stuff. But then I look at it and I think, man, okay, I've got to put this much aquarium. How do I get it into there? Right? And they start thinking of filling their, you know, their sump, for example, with the mud while it's going, and it, you know, really starts to confuse issues because when you think about it, you don't want this mud kind of floating in the tank and killing the corals and things of that nature. And the nice part about what I'm about to review today is we've got a simple, easy solution that actually Ling, over at Ecosystem has put together to allow this to kind of all come to fruition very simply, very easily. What is that solution? Well, it's not the official name, but I like to refer to it as the Miracle Mud Brick, right? You look at it and say, you know, doesn't that look like a brick? Well, it's really interesting and it's very simple, but the nice thing about it is this little brick, right, is going to allow us to basically put it into our tank without kind of needing those slats or any of that sort of stuff. So let's take a little bit closer look at this brick. So what does the brick look like? Well, if we open it up, we are going to see that basically we have a bag o' Miracle Mud and a plastic container, nothing else. Right? So when you look at this little container, it's really slick because all you have to do is take the Miracle Mud, pour it into the container. From there, basically all you're going to do is place this container, or as many as you need, right, for the size of your aquarium, in your sump. So you look at that and say, okay, that really simplifies the equation, number one, because now you don't need the slats and those sorts of things. And then number two, if you don't like it, right, while you're trying it out, for example, you don't like it, well, all you're going to do is you're going to pop these bricks out, right, and you're going back to the way you were before. Now in my particular case, My sump is relatively small in the tank that I'm going to try it on today. It's going to be that Tang tank. Now, in there, for example, I've got this big skimmer, right? And, you know, from there, I've got other kind of pumps and things like that that are kind of taking up that chamber. So for me, all I'm going to do is I'm going to take the skimmer, I'm going to remove it. Because again, if you follow what Ling, right, any of his experiments and what he's done, he's proven that the Miracle Mud itself, without a skimmer, works really good. Now we know Mike Paletta actually uses a skimmer, and if your sump is big enough, right, you can actually put a skimmer in there as well. But for me, I'm first going to try it just using these like bricks. So now the next question would be, okay, do I really need these little plastic containers? Well, you know, obviously you can try them, you know, using any container, right? If you've got, you know, little containers like this, you can get them at Walmart, Kmart, hardware stores. You know, there's tons of them, right? And the key is basically, though, you know, for this, 32 ounces of Miracle Mud for every 30 gallons of water. And it's that simple. Now, say you're a freshwater guy as well. So you have saltwater fish and freshwater fish. Well, basically, with the Miracle Mud, Ling even makes one that's specifically for freshwater. And you saw that for the discus tank, for example, with over at Wet Pets with Brian Tamuti. So if you want to try that out on your freshwater tank to say, hey, maybe let's see if I like it over there first before we put on our corals, it's the same kind of thing, right? Same great easy solution for trying out Miracle Mud. So let's break it down on what I'm going to do. So basically, I've got that sump. I've got a couple things going on in that sump. Number one, I've got a skimmer. I want to get that out of there. Number two, I've got those ceramic bio balls. Remember, it's important to have kind of that bio kind of filtration in there. And one of the things that I've learned through using those bio balls is what I did is I just threw them into sump because, again, it was quick and easy. But what I'd like to do is kind of increase the flow and the circulation around there. So right now with those bio balls, for example, laying on the ground, what's happening is there's no circulation going underneath. So to me, I'm thinking that basically I'm going to get better filtration if I lift them up off the floor surface of that sump. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut some egg crate. I'm going to lift those bio balls up, and we're going to get some flow underneath them. And then what I'm going to do is while I have the egg crate out, I'm going to take and put basically a wall up so that when I try my Miracle Mud and put my macroalgae in there, whatever kind of loose macroalgae, you know, that sort of stuff, whatever happens there, is not going to flow into my main display. So rather than talk about it, let's get busy. Let's go try out some Miracle Mud. So now the tools that we're going to use, bucket and egg crate. One point for all you new hobbyists out there who maybe have never used egg crate before. Again, you'll find it in the like suspended ceiling sections at your Lowe's, your Home Depots. And to cut it to size, now you'll hear some people say you gotta, you know, use a saw or they'll use a blade saw. And what happens is I usually don't like those things because when you cut, little shards of plastic will fly up and hit you in the eye. Even if you have, you know, eye protection, it's just a bad idea. To me, I just take a pair of wire cutters and I just take and snip, 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 and you can get it close enough, right? And it's not sharp, and then it's a lot safer. And in my case here, again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this egg crate, I'm going to use it as a wall, like I said, on this side, and then over on here, you'll see how we're going to lift it up. But first, what we got to do is get rid of that skimmer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start pulling it out, and I'll fast forward and play a little music. Now we got the skimmer out, which is kind of a pain in the rear. But now what I'm going to do is after I take the skimmer, I'm going to take and move those bio balls on this side. We'll suck out kind of the debris and all that sort of stuff, and then we'll use that egg crate and I'll show you what I meant. So this is what I was talking about. You can see the ceramic balls down here, and the water hits there and it goes through, but there's no flow underneath. Right, so we look at that and I'd say, I think I'm going to get some better filtration if I lift these balls up, put that egg crate down, and let that flow kind of occur underneath. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and move these balls over onto this side of the chamber, and from there I'll sweep it out a little bit. Then we'll put that egg crate down and we'll see if we get some flow out of it. All the ceramic bio balls moved to the right hand side. All I'm going to do is take this, lid off, so to speak, right, that holds the filter socks. Put that down there. And now we're going to take basically that egg crate, and all I want to do is set it on top. I think that's pretty good there. So that'll keep, in general, that flow coming down through the bio balls. And then I have the bio block, which I can set right there like that. And then what I'll do is I'll just start filling the balls back on the other side. So now, as you can see, with the egg crate in, that circulation is going to be a lot better for these bio balls, right? With all that surface area, we want to make sure the water actually goes through it for better biological filtration. Now, this area over here is where I'm going to actually put the Miracle Mud trays. Now, I have this little maxi jet which actually feeds my calcium reactor. If I kept it on that side, I'm thinking that the macroalgae would clog it up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually move it on the other side, so the feed is coming from the side of the tank, so it's not going to have any macroalgae growing on it. And there we have it. A little quieter actually, and we know that, again, the filter socks are going to do a good job at basically keeping all of the kind of, I'll say, thicker particles, bigger particles, larger particles out of the bio balls, as well as out of that maxi jet, which is going to feed my calcium reactor. This egg crate now, what we're going to do is we're going to build that wall over there so the macroalgae won't basically clog up the pump. Again, nothing special. Relatively easy, right? We'll do something like that. It's a little wall. And again, it'll be just enough so it'll catch it, because when I do the water changes, I kill the power, so that macroalgae is going to float to the top anyway, and this will kind of keep it in its home. So the first thing we want to do before we put the Miracle Mud in is we want to kill the circulation. We don't want any kind of debris or anything flowing back in the tank. So again, we've got iPhone, we've got our Neptune system over there, and let's just click off. So now it's off. I'm still going to keep the circulation going up there. And now, this is where it gets really tricky. You need a pair of scissors. And from there we'll take our Miracle Mud, open it up, take our containers, we're going to fill it in. Okay. So there you go. Take our bag, Now from here, what we want to do is take some aquarium water and actually put it into the top of it. So let me get a cup and I'll be right back. I couldn't find a cup, but I did find one of the HPD containers. And just in case you wonder how I ship the HPD out, one of these little containers full with a little lid. They're deli style containers, 8 ounces. So again, we're just going to take some aquarium water now, and we're just going to gently put it on top of the mud. And again, we're going to let it sink. So as you can see, the mud kind of, again, the water has been absorbed into it. Now, what I like to do here, as per the instructions, is what you do is you take the bag itself, right, and you just put it over top of it while you're placing it into the aquarium, like this. So as you can see, that's basically how simple it is, right? There's not a whole lot of kind of debris floating around, which makes it nice. It's pretty clean. Again, this bag, when you do that, what it does is it tends to kind of keep everything in check for the most part. So now with the first container of Miracle Mud at least being in its place, what I will do is I will go get the other two, put them in here, and then we'll take a look at it after it's done. One of the things that I just noticed on the back of the Miracle Mud brick boxes, and we can zoom on this in a second, but it says Miracle Mud is a product of Ecosystem Aquarium. Miracle Mud is comprised of 80% oceanic mud harvested from the deep waters and then is dried on land. The remaining 20% of the formulation of minerals, trace elements that make Miracle Mud a true miracle. And if you can focus in on there, there's all kinds, right, of the trace elements and the stuff that, again, I'm not a marine biologist per se, but obviously it's the stuff that's what separates Miracle Mud from everybody else. And it's why, so many people are, having such successful aquariums with it. For whatever it's worth, that's the Miracle Mud brick box. And I'm going to get cracking putting some more Miracle Mud in there. So as you can see, when I was putting the Miracle Mud, when these trays were in there, I was being gentle, right? I didn't want to stir anything up per se. And when you look at it, you can see hardly, not a whole lot of that, debris is floating around or anything like that. So I think, again, I'm happy with just in general how that works. So while we're waiting for the Miracle Mud now, just to settle down, I'm going to take this, again, fluorescent light. Okay, you can see it's compact fluorescent, 18 watt. I'm just going to put this right above where the Miracle Mud and the macroalgae are going to be growing. Again, no big deal, right? It's just going to set across the top just like that. And it'll do a real good job at kind of lighting up the sun. Okay, so let's try that light out and let's see what it looks like. Look at that. And you know what? You can kind of see in there there's not it's not that bad as it relates to the the mud, any of the residues. So I think what I am going to do is I'm actually going to go get some that macroalgae. I'm going to plant it in there, and we're actually going to put the pumps on now, even though we should probably wait that hour or two just again to make sure the water sinks at the bottom. But again, like I said, looking at it now, I think we'll be in good shape. We got some macroalgae here. And again, I don't want tons because I want it to grow. I'm taking, put a little there. we go. I think now we got that going. Again, I'm just going to turn it on, and we're going to let it roll. So as you can see now with the system on, there isn't a ton of flow in here, meaning Ling recommends 1,000 to 2,000 gallons per hour. You know, the flow itself isn't even pushing the macroalgae against the egg crate, which is kind of cool. You know, after installing this now, it took what, 10 minutes? To me, if Miracle Mud is something that you're thinking about considering, this is definitely the way to try it. Because you look at it and there's nothing permanent about it. You know, you take the skimmer, for example, you pulled it out, you put these trays in, and then if you don't like it, it's just in reverse, right? You pull the trays out, and then put your skimmer back in. So it's not a whole lot of investment of your time. You don't have to worry about the system and, you know, any kind of ill effects per se. And ultimately, it gives you a chance to kind of do what I'm doing, and again, try new products out. And again, for me, one of the main reasons I like to try things out like this specifically is because I don't like maintenance. And like skimmers, for example, skimmers are tough, right? I mean, every 3-4 days you got to clean them out and all that sort of thing. And to me, it's just one thing that I don't have enough time as it is. So one less thing I got to do is a good thing. Now, I am still running carbon on here, right? So, and you can see I'm also still running the bio pellets and the GFO. At one point, I'll probably take the bio pellets out. But to me, I didn't want to kind of shock the system. You know, I like to do things gradually, so that's my gradual approach of kind of like putting Miracle Mud into this particular tank. So as you can see, installing the Miracle Mud in these little kind of brick containers is dirt simple. Yeah, I get it. All right, dirt, Miracle Mud, bad choice of humor. Anyway, you saw it, easy to take in, easy to take out. So you can try it if you don't like it. And there's not a whole lot of waste going on, which is something, again, I like to promote. You know, the other thing about it is, I know when you go to the store itself, right, if you're looking for them, you'll look for them, it'll say 32 ounces of Miracle Mud, right? It's not going to say Miracle Mud Brick because that's just the name that I've used for the product. And I believe now, for example, he's actually running a special on them. I believe it's $14.95 for one of these 32-ounce Miracle Mud containers. So again, when you look at it, like I said, it's a little investment. Not a huge investment, but at the same time, it's a great opportunity to try something new and try something that, again, is close to nature. Because for us, you know, with reef tanks, that's our goal, right? We're trying to mimic nature and in an environment that is, you know, almost impossible to try to make that happen. But this is one of those solutions that, again, gets us to that kind of end goal. Now, you've heard me say many, many times, give our sponsors a chance to earn your business, and Ling is one of those sponsors. One of the reasons why I chose Ecosystem and Ling as a sponsor of American Reef is because he's a good guy, right? He's a phone call away, and what that means is he won't let you fail. And, you know, to me, that's important, especially in this hobby. So, again, give Ecosystem a try. Again, that's ecostore-us.com if you want to try one of these bricks out. I believe Premium Aquatics also sells them. Again, when we know Premium Aquatics is a sponsor of American Reef, we know why. Again, everybody who has ever purchased from Premium Aquatics or dealt with the guys over there, know it's a great, great, great company to work for and with. Again, I'm Russ Kickle. Thanks for watching this episode of American Reef.